I'll tell you how this anime almost betrayed me. And I'm telling you everything, how it started, what happened, and what to do from there. Sometime last year, after that super stacked anime season, the fall lineup was pretty tame. And for those who are new here, I do daily anime episode reviews on shows that are currently airing. So the summer lineup was crazy good. But when it was time to choose the shows to cover for the fall season, a lot of shows were just okay. And I ended up choosing Sanda, Spy Family Season 3, Imoza, Chitose is in the Ramune bottle, Yano-kun's Ordinary Days, and My Awkward Senpai. I ended up dropping Sanda at episode 3, Imoza was a whole lot of nothing, Chitose is in the Ramune bottle ended up getting delayed, and up until now it's still not finished. Yano-kun's Ordinary Days went into a direction that I didn't really enjoy, but My Awkward Senpai, it saved me, man. It was arguably the best and most wholesome show of that season. And yes, even more than Spy Family. I look back on these times and remember being super tired from work, but then after it's all said and done, I'd lie down on my bed and watch an episode of My Awkward Senpai. It was amazing. And for those who haven't seen the show yet and you don't mind spoilers, it's about the main character Kanawa. And one day she gets assigned to take care of a newly hired guy named Kamegawa. Kanawa is often seen as cold and intimidating, but in reality she's just awkward. Then the two eventually start to like each other, and that's the thick and thin of it. The show had tons of heartwarming moments. The characters were all very charming. Big shout out to Hota-san. And most importantly, it made me forget about all the crap that we have to deal with in the real world. Pure bliss. Now you're probably wondering, where did it all go wrong? Well, this is what happened. I went and reviewed episode 9 like I usually did, and some comments caught my attention. Burrito Hoover said, "Well, y'all are gonna hate the manga." So in the manga, Kanawa isn't Kamigawa's mentor anymore, and she's given a new person to look after. Kanawa and Kamigawa decided to date, but just on a trial basis. And apparently this new guy invited Kanawa out to eat during the holidays, and apparently she told Kamigawa that she wasn't free on Christmas, and she didn't tell him that she was gonna have lunch with the new guy, despite the fact that the two of them are dating. And then Kamigawa was also invited by another female co-worker. And then they saw each other at the restaurant. And here I said, "Oh my god, please tell me you're trolling. What the heck did I just read?" And he went, "Yeah, I actually don't know what the author is doing. And by the way, after she got caught, she feels guilty, but she justified it by saying, 'It's okay, I didn't do anything bad.' So rejecting and lying to your boyfriend to have lunch with a different dude on Christmas is not bad. She could have had lunch with the dude to thank her on a different time. She could have spent Christmas with her boyfriend." I was like, why is this happening? I genuinely feel heartbroken that the story will become like that. This show is a huge source of joy for me this anime season. But knowing this, I don't know what to feel anymore. Here are more comments discussing this. So after this, I made it a goal to read the manga once the anime ended. But this happened during the episode 9 review. So I had to wait 3 more weeks before I could finally pick up where the anime left off. And even on the next episode review, the conversation continued. There's a whole lot of misunderstanding in the manga. I read a heartbreaking comment about the state of the manga. It involves Kanawa doing bad things behind Kamigawa's back. How true is this? I plan on reading the manga once the anime finishes. I mean, it's kinda true where she went out with another guy to repay for his debts instead of hanging out with her boyfriend, but this could be a huge misunderstanding, because in one chapter she tells him that she wants to be more than friends. But I'm really confused myself from the manga and anime. I think it's skipping some chapters. And I relate with this one. The plot is basically a roller coaster. But I'm sure the two will be together at the end. I decided to stop reading it until the manga is finished to save myself from overthinking. And up until the finale, it continued. And since we're here, here's my per episode rating for this show. It was pretty good. The anime ended in such a nice way too. They sort of became a couple, and I loved seeing Kanawa and Kamigawa grow closer. Now it took me a while to scan the manga to look for the specific chapter where the anime ended. Apparently there was a whole lot of manga stuff that didn't make it to the anime, like a whole ass character just wasn't included. So let's talk about what happens next in the manga. So this is the big turning point towards the final episode of the anime. Kanawa and Kamigawa became a couple, but on a 3-month trial basis. Then we get this super cute and super wholesome date between the two. I absolutely loved this. And these are some of my favorite panels in the manga too. Kanawa is showing how much more she wants to get closer to Kamigawa. But literally the next thing, or rather things that happened immediately after that date are as follows. First, Kanawa runs into a new character. On the surface level, we see this good-looking, grumpy dude with red eyes. At this point, I'm sure we're all thinking the same thing, like, oh no, this is gonna be another love triangle. And of course, later on, we find out that Kamigawa will no longer be mentored by Kanawa, and instead this dude will be replacing him. And over on Kamigawa's side, he meets a new character as well. It's this cute girl who has no problem initiating physical contact with him, and he will now have to work under her. It's like right after Kanawa and Kamigawa's huge relationship milestone, the universe just wanted to pull them apart by forcing them to work with different people. It's horrible. As you could probably imagine, I felt pretty bummed out by these developments and what they could possibly entail. I wanted to see Kanawa and Kamigawa interact with each other more and more, and having both of them meet what seems to be another potential love interest isn't something that I wanted to see. But even after all of this, neither Kanawa nor Kamigawa show any interest towards their new partners at work. Like here, Kanawa just wants to be a good senpai as usual. She even misses Kamigawa's competency and company. And based on these panels, both of them feel a slight sense of jealousy towards the other's new work partner. Their feelings are still pretty much intact. And both Kanawa and Kamigawa confided to Hota about how sad they are to be apart from one another. Then after this, there was this whole arc where Kanawa, Kamigawa, Beppu, and Shibaseki all went to the mountains. There's not much to discuss about that, but the important takeaways from that arc are Kamigawa wants to have a good professional relationship with his new boss Beppu-san, and he has no romantic interest in her whatsoever. Shibaseki kinda hates everyone, and Shibaseki is kind of envious of women, assuming this is because he likes cutesy stuff, but you don't have to be a woman to like that. So I hope that he realizes this along the way as he develops into a character that fits the guy likes cute things archetype. And honestly, Shibaseki's kinda chill, and so far he has not acted the way I thought he would act initially. But I feel like Kamigawa is still overthinking his relationship with Kanawa though, unfortunately. Beppu isn't really interested in Kamigawa, and Kanawa told her that she's glad that Beppu praises Kamigawa. This makes Beppu happy because people always accuse her of trying to seduce or flirt with any male she comes across. This was pretty wholesome too, and it seems that Kamigawa and Shibaseki are chill with each other too. Lastly, it ended with both Shibaseki and Beppu asking Kamigawa and Kanawa what they are to each other. I can imagine that it's pretty obvious that they're a couple now. And now we're headed to the controversial part, up in the next chapter. But before that, we get to see the super wholesome extra chapter. And also, the last video I uploaded is currently the most viewed video I have on this channel. Thank you so much to everybody who left a comment and to everybody who watched it. I make content just to entertain all of you, and it's a huge pleasure to just have this community of wholesome people. I appreciate you guys. But if you're new here and you love anime, make sure you subscribe so we could talk some more. Okay, so this is where things start to get weird. Kanawa tells Beppu that she and Kamigawa are just senpai and kohai instead of just straight up telling her that they're dating. And now we find out that Beppu is kind of interested in Kamigawa, in a romantic sense. At this point, I felt like things were gonna start crashing down ASAP. And you can't even blame Beppu in this situation. She's doing everything right. She asked Kanawa directly if she and Kamigawa are dating. And now that Kanawa denied it, she then felt safe to confess to her that she's interested in Kamigawa in that way. Now, Kamigawa moved all of his things to his new office, and despite Kanawa wanting to make plans or spend more time with him, not being in the same department has made it very difficult for them to even see each other. As I continued to read through these chapters, I grew more and more upset with how they presented Shibaseki here. It seems that they're making it look like he's replacing Kamigawa. I really don't like this, man. It's like it's been clear that neither Kanawa nor Shibaseki are interested in each other in that way. It's purely professional. Shibaseki did make it clear that Kamigawa told him to keep an eye on her. So Kamigawa's concern for Kanawa is still here despite not being her kohai anymore. I'll skip some more not so related chapters, but it's important to note that Kanawa is struggling with seeing everyone around her pursue growth, and this made her think that she should also focus on her future and stuff. And of course, she's struggling with barely seeing or interacting with Kamigawa, not to mention all of the misunderstandings that have been happening. Now this is where it all starts. Beppu asked Kamigawa out on Christmas. On the surface level, it doesn't even seem like she did it in a romantic sense because she didn't mind Kamigawa's sister being there. And she even invited Kanawa as well. She just didn't want to be alone. And this was because of bad experiences in her past. It was actually pretty sad to see how men have treated Beppu in the past because of her personality. And now this is where everything just gets worse. Kamigawa doesn't accept Beppu's invitation right away because he wants to be with Kanawa. But he's also being considerate of Kanawa, knowing that she's been taking in extra work. He thinks that if he tells her that he'll be busy on Christmas, Kanawa won't push herself as hard anymore. This was so uncharacteristic for Kamigawa. He's smart and he knows how to read the room. Why the heck did he start by saying that he'll be with Beppu and others on Christmas? His girlfriend is clearly working overtime just so she could be with him, and he goes and makes her feel like she's not needed, and that he chose his new boss over her on Christmas, which in Japanese culture is usually spent with your significant other. Kanawa's reaction here is valid and justifiable. It was a huge mistake for Kamigawa to do that. It pisses me off that these two rarely communicate with each other properly. You're dating for goodness sake. But yeah, in this scenario, it's definitely Kamigawa's fault, which again is very uncharacteristic of him to do. And now, Kanawa declined Beppu's invitation for Christmas because she's still upset. It's still valid for her to feel this way, and I understand why she didn't feel relieved to be invited, because it basically confirms that their plans aren't romantic, but still she has every right to feel upset at Kamigawa. Bro really messed up this time. And because she's so upset, this prompted her to take on extra work, essentially correcting a mistake that her colleague made. It's pretty sad that she did this just to distract herself from her sadness. And now this is where all the commotion came from. Shibaseki helped Kanawa in exchange for her time on Christmas Day. And yes, I understand that this could easily be misconstrued as a romantic advance, but come on, at this point it's been super clear that Shibaseki does not like Kanawa that way. And this really confuses me. Kamigawa asked Kanawa via text if she's free. This was after he told her that he would be with Beppu and others this weekend. It's so infuriating. Why would Kanawa agree to this when you've already told her you made plans in the first place? Granted, he did say he would be with Beppu on the weekend and not on Christmas Day itself. But that's still no excuse. He probably tried to clarify that he wanted to know if Kanawa was free on Christmas first, but she was already upset when he wanted to ask. And we could see here that Shibaseki does not give a fuck at all, because he just needed Kanawa to up his chances to pull a specific character sticker. And of course, Kamigawa and Beppu run into both of them inside the restaurant. Well, after this scene, it's just a bunch of the usual crap. Both Kanawa and Kamigawa overthink the situation. There just needs to be more communication between the two. But yeah, this whole restaurant thing was kinda awkward. And there were scenes where Shibaseki would make Kamigawa uncomfortable, and times where Beppu would make Kanawa uncomfortable. But since we're here, let's tie it all up. The next time they see each other is during the New Year's shrine visit arranged by Hota. I like how Kamigawa initiated the first move here and remained unbothered by the Christmas thing. I feel like he knows he's to blame for the most part, and he's being mature about it. He grabbed Kanawa's hand, and he's being much more actionable for his own feelings, which is always good. Now, Kamigawa opened up more of his thoughts, and this prompted Kanawa to do the same. I love it when characters clearly communicate to each other. Thankfully, they reconciled, and we've been getting cute, heartwarming scenes from both of them again. In the end, after reading through this manga, I conclude with full confidence that Kanawa did nothing wrong. Kamigawa took responsibility afterwards, and they get to continue to enjoy each other's company. That's a satisfying conclusion to this issue. Or should I say non-issue. At the end of the day, I'm glad I read the manga. Otherwise, I would have just thought that Kanawa just did something horrible to Kamigawa. Which, as you saw, is not the case. If you're still watching, thank you so much. You are the reason why I feel motivated to make these videos. I'm curious, what do you think about this whole issue? Do you agree that Kanawa did nothing wrong? Also, feel free to leave a comment to tell me what video I should do next. This is actually the longest video I've ever made, but if you feel like watching something short, like say an entire anime in under 3 hours, click the video on screen to check it out. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'll catch you later.